All right, buddy, it's time. It's time. We gotta get into it. We gotta talk about it. We have to talk about this. This is a huge one. Okay. YouTube mode activate. Sony sells its co-ownership stake in EVO, and it's gonna return as a sponsor now. I don't know what to say about it. It's just wild, right? So there's an article. We're gonna take a look at the article. We're gonna talk about it. Let's get into it. Bam. Here we are. It's coming from the Shaq News. What's up, Shaq News? Big ups to Shaq News for putting this out here. So it is right here. So, and this was August 21st that this went out. So it's not that long ago that they went off about this. So let's take a look here. In March 2021, Sony Interactive Entertainment acquired EVO in a joint venture. So this is back in 2021 that they got their partnership, right? Joint venture with esports organization RTS. This week, Sony is stepping back from co-ownership of the biggest fighting game tournament in the world as it sells its stake to India-based esports group Nodwin Gaming. Woo boy, here we go. Here we go. Oh boy, here we go. Oh boy, here we go. I have so many words. All right, let me knock this out real fast, because if I don't do it now, I'll do it at the end. But there's been all this riffraff about the Middle East stepping into esports, and there's a lot of concerns about that. Yet, you know, there's this contract with Capcom and Esports World Cup for, you know, how they have stake together with, what was it, if you make it, whatever the rules are for qualifying and make it in the Capcom Cup and making it far into Capcom Cup puts you in Esports World Cup as well. Like, come on, son. And now Sony's stepping back and letting another India-based esports group step in for EVO. I mean, things are changing. I'm trying to tell people. So many people have this issue with, like, you know, the whole, and I'm not trying to get it too crazy here with the whole Saudi prince, etc., yada yada yada. I don't know if you know, but Nodwin is a sister company of Sony. I think it's still the biggest takeaway here is an India-based company. Whether it's a sister company or not, it's still pretty huge. But we'll move forward. We'll get there. So RTS will still continue to co-own the brand with increased investment from the Saudi Arabia Qiddiya. We didn't even get this far. It's already, it's right here, right? Meanwhile, Sony will go back to being a sponsor for future EVO, for EVO in the future events. So I'm wondering if this is the goodbye of PS5. I'm wondering if that's the case now. But with that being said, let's continue, right? The EVO organization announced the details of its change in ownership and investment in a press release launched this week. It begins with Sony Interactive Entertainment bowing out of its co-ownership of EVO by selling its stake to Nodwin Gaming, of which parent company Sony also backs. Nodwin comes out of India, where it has produced esports events and content based around games like PUBG and Valorant. Huge. The group will join RTS in co-ownership of EVO for the foreseeable future. Sony will continue to support EVO as a global sponsor and partner. Huge. Nodwin Gaming acknowledged Sony's part in helping grow and expand EVO, and managing director Akshat Rathi AR. Keep it short, so I don't want to butcher the name, right? I don't want to butcher the name. They're excited to pick up the baton and run with it alongside RTS. EVO was built by a team whose authenticity and passion for the fighting game community are unmatched, AR said. And included, we will continue Sony's great work and honor the legacy of everyone who has made it what it is today, while opening the door for a new generation to experience the spirit of EVO. Let's move forward. Likewise, RTS shared enthusiasm for the future as part of this announcement, included an increased investment from Qiddiya, which became an EVO global partner in 2024, so not that long ago, just last year. Teaming up with Kadia strengthens the future of RTS and what we're building with EVO. An event that lives up to its name by driving real transformation in the fighting game community through new opportunities, deeper connections, and meaningful growth. Huge. EVO 2025 was an incredible triumph in many ways, as shared by many of us here at Shack News when the dust settled. However, it will be interesting to see what happens next. With Nodwin taking the helm alongside Kadia invested RTS, stay tuned for EVO with more updates and news. I'm with this. I've been saying this. RTS isn't real-time strategy. I don't know. But my point is, there's been all this riffraff about Saudi Arabia and all this riffraff that like Fatal Fury got. But like, what's not understood about this whole thing is that they're in, like, that side of the world is invested in fighting games and just esports as a whole. Obviously there's some things that people have qualms with. They definitely have their issues, their trepidations, and I don't blame them at all. However, this is still ultimately a good direction. So it's almost like, in so many ways, it's very unbecoming, disingenuous to be so negative towards it, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm not using the right words for it, but simply put, I think it sucks. Like, games like Fatal Fury are getting, dumpstered, yet, Street Fighter's getting praised while still having the same kind of backing, right? You could argue it's not like a direct backing with, say, and I know what people are gonna say when they watch this, they're gonna be like, oh well, they put in real life people into this game and made it lame, blah 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 blah. But like, it doesn't change. Yeah, hypocritical. It doesn't change the fact that, like, India based, Saudi based, they're still invested in Capcom. They're invested in Bandai Namco. They're invested in SNK because they want these companies to be at the forefront. It's very, very, very much so clear they want these three companies in particular to be at the forefront of esports fighting games, because these, and for what it's worth, and I'm just spitballing here, right? It feels like it's like that to me, mostly because these companies have been around for longer than most other companies, and they want their games to shine. Now, does that mean other companies don't have an opportunity? Probably not. I think that they definitely do have opportunity. That doesn't mean that they're out of it, right? It just means that Bandai Namco, Capcom, and SNK, they ran the 90s early on in the arcade era with their games, and they want their games to be at the forefront of fighting game esports, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong. Does that leave room for Arc System Works? Yes. Does that still leave room for maybe Marvel Tokon? Absolutely. Does it still leave room for 2XKO? Absolutely. It's just whether or not those companies are going to work with them to get it to this point. Who knows? Invincible could be there. Like, there's so much on the horizon that we don't know what's going to happen. And Esports World Cup is offering fighting game players the same kind of opportunities as like a PUBG player or a Valorant player. Like, winning that money is good. You're winning like someone's salary who's like a doctor for playing fighting games. Yes, there's no guarantee you can win, but even if you qualify, you're still making money. So your effort isn't gone to waste. What really sucks is that, like, tournaments now, you practice, they're 2 out of 3, you make top 8, there's no money involved, right? When you make top 16, there's no money involved. Some of these events are paying out top 16 to top 8 now, but that's not all of them, right? Which kind of leads more into Esports World Cup, but the point still remains is that, like, the Middle East is invested in esports. There's no fighting it. It is what it is. They're offering the opportunities that we would never get. Or let me not say we would never get. Let me switch it up and say, not that we would never get, that's taking longer for us to get. Period. We've been pushing fighting games and esports, but fighting games don't get the same love and respect as a Valorant, as a Apex, as some of the other traditional esports games. And we put in just as much work, and it's just as difficult. But it's just all on us. It's not us and a team. It's just us. So who knows, right? But I think this is a step in the right direction. I wonder how far along this is gonna go in terms of like PS5 still being the standard for EVO. I wonder if this pushes us into PC realm. I don't know. I'm not sure what this pushes us into in terms of like what we'll be playing on, etc., etc. I don't know what this puts us into. But if Sony's still like a shareholder, right? If not shareholder, they're still invested, whatever, they're still invested in it, cool. But I wonder, I'm really wondering what this does for fighting games moving forward. Because if we're out of using PS5s now and we're going into like the PC era, this could change a lot. This could change a lot. I mean, and not to mention, keep in mind, we also have other EVOs opening up now, right? We have EVO Japan, we have EVO Vegas, right? And then we have EVO France later this year in October. And then we also have freaking EVO Singapore coming next year. That's 4 EVOs. That's 4 EVOs. 4. Fantastic. 4. It's fantastic, ain't it? Having that many EVOs is huge. So that means like players have so many opportunities to kind of strut their stuff. It also opens up more doors for the other regions who do play other games to have those games shine. So for example, Hunter x Hunter is a main game at France. That's huge. You know, it just came out right here before this tournament, but I mean, still, you know, they got it. Now, how do you fail? You know, the only thing I think that needs to change is EVO Worlds. I don't think EVO Worlds should be in August. I think you should end the year with EVO World. What makes people think EVO will be on PC with Sony still being in the picture? I don't think we know yet, but I think a lot of people will probably assume because Sony's like no longer like in the forefront, they're probably assuming, okay, no more PS5. But I think logistically it's still not, we're not there yet logistically to say we're on PC. But I can see people immediately being like, oh man, we're gonna move to PC now. It's like, it could be. I doubt it. At least not in the next, like, I don't think next year we're moving to PC, right? It might take some time if that's the case. It wouldn't be next year. I think right now the point is to solidify the events, right? Like, so solidify the events when they're happening. If there's any more after like Singapore, because that's 2 in Asia, 1 in the EU, 1 in America. Yeah. They're still a sponsor, so they're definitely still invested. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're still gonna have PS5. Going back to what I said, I think they need to change the date of EVO Worlds. I think EVO Worlds should be like December or something. But I understand maybe they don't want to do it because family reasons. I do think the end of the year is when EVO Worlds should be, though, because it doesn't make sense to have all the other events later. Like if we open with EVO Asia, EVO Japan, right, and then blah 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 blah, then EVO Worlds. Worlds should be the most prestigious one. It is technically speaking still the biggest one, but now you're introducing France and you're introducing Singapore. So I think France can stay in October, most likely. I think they should move Worlds to like December or something, and then Singapore can be when EVO Worlds is. But I think they, again, the reason why they don't want to move Worlds is because it's summertime and it's like right before back to school. You know what I mean? So, tough. It's a good set of conversation. Let me know how you guys feel about this in the comments below. Talk to me. How do you feel about Sony selling its co-ownership in EVO? And us taking on a whole new partner with Nodwin Gaming from the Middle East. They are from Saudi Arabia. Talk to me. Let me know. Let me know. Anyhow, I'm gonna get up out of here on this one. Y'all take it easy. Peace.